Hi everyone, welcome to our channel Media Unlock Tech. This is Hassan. We're going to be replacing the LCD screen on an iPhone 6s today. And a few things you're going to be needing. Mainly, unlike the other repairs we've done, you're going to need a heat gun or a hair dryer so we can heat up the seal around the LCD. That's the important one. You need a flat tool or a plastic prying tool. Either one will work. Phillips head screwdriver, Pentalobe screwdriver for the bottom screws, and a pair of tweezers. So let's start with our device. Let's make sure the device is power off. We're gonna start with the bottom screws. Okay, now before we get into the opening up and prying, we're gonna go ahead and heat it up a little bit. Like I said, you don't have to have a heat gun. It just makes it quicker. You can use a regular hair dryer. That'll do the job just fine. So you wanna go ahead and heat up all the way around the edges of the screen. And we're gonna get our prying tool. We're gonna start on this side. Unlike the other iPhone 6 or the 5s, instead of just trying with the headphone jack, we're gonna go to the other side. Go in between the frame and the LCD. So try not to push it too much. Once you get your tool in between, take your hair dryer or heat gun, just kind of give it a little bit more heat, loosen up the glue seal. And slowly work your way around. Once it pops up a little bit, just give it a little bit more heat on top. And then gently pull it. And that's how the glue is gonna look like. These white pieces. You can just peel those off. And we're gonna start first. We're gonna unplug the battery, and there's two screws holding that. There's one here, one right there. Gonna use our Phillips head screwdriver. Let's get those out. And these are different size screws. The one towards the battery is gonna be the longer one, and closer to the frame is gonna be the shorter screw. And this one over here is gonna be our battery connector. And that does have some type of adhesive on it as well. Just you can use a fingernail or a plastic prying tool. Just get the battery out. Now the battery is disconnected. We can move up to the connectors for the LCD, and there's gonna be 5 screws holding that down. I'm sorry, there's 4 screws actually on this one. Let's start with the top one. And again, these are different size screws. So as you take it out, just make sure you put them in an order, you know where they go back. Very tiny bit differences. Now all the screws are off. Now you can simply just pull the plate out. Underneath the plate, there's gonna be few connectors. There's one for the home button, front camera, LCD, and the digitizer. So you can use your fingers or a plastic tool to pop those out. Now the screen is fully separated from the frame. And the old glue pieces, go ahead, take those out as well. You can just peel it off and put it on the side. And if your screen is really shattered, make sure there's no broken glass pieces left out on the corners or on the edges. That way when you put in your new screen back on there, you don't end up damaging anything. So before we remove everything from this screen, we're gonna go ahead, get our new screen and test it out real quick. With the company we work, it's the iScreen Direct, and we are affiliated with them. We do make sure the high quality products, and we do test them before we ship them out. But still, just in case, go ahead, test your screens. And this is how you do that. This is a new screen from iScreen Direct, and there will be a link for this on the bottom of the video. Let's go ahead, plug these connectors. Unlike the iPhone 6s or the 5s, the LCD and the digitizer is all one cable, and the other one is going to be for your home button. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Let's put the battery cable back on there so we can test our screen. And we'll lay the screen down and power it on. And once it's on, we're just going to make sure LCD doesn't have any dead spots and the touch works properly. And after that, we're going to move on to this old screen that we removed from this phone and get the back plate out, home button, earpiece, and the front camera. Okay, phone is on. Let's slide in. All right, it seems like everything is working. It's touching properly. Now we can power it back off. You can just pop these connectors back out and unplug the battery. Alright, now we got our new screen and the old one with all the parts on it. Now we are ready to transfer the earpiece speaker, front camera, home button, and the back plate to this LCD. So first off, we're going to use our Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to start with the top part. That's going to have our earpiece speaker. And there's 3 screws holding it down. Those are going to be these guys right here. Let's start with those. And as you take it apart, again, pay attention. They are different size screws. And that is a very important spot, because if you put the long screw where the short screw was supposed to go, you're going to end up damaging your LCD. Screws are off. Let's get the top plate that holds the camera and the earpiece down. And right underneath there's going to be the front camera. You can just fold it to the side. And underneath the earpiece speaker, you can just pop it out. There's nothing else holding it. And either using a flathead screwdriver or tweezers, you can just kind of get underneath here. That's where the proximity sensor is. And this one's already coming out. Just remove it like this. And here's this gold piece that also has a little bit of adhesive underneath. You can just pry it slowly. There it is. That's the front camera and proximity sensor assembly. The next step is going to be our back plate and the home button cable. And for that, there's going to be 3 on this side, 3 over here, so that's 6. There's 1 little screw on top and 1 over here that holding the plate down. So a total of 8 screws. We're going to start with the ones on the side. All the side screws are going to be exactly the same size, so it doesn't matter what order you take it out from. And very similar to iPhone 5C, there's one screw over here. That's a very tiny one. Let's put that a little separated. And there's one more on the bottom holding the plate down. Now we can simply pry our back plate. It should be out. The next step is the home button assembly. There's two screws holding it down. And remember, if you pay attention over here, this is where the bottom screw was for the back plate. And this plate for the home button, it goes underneath the back plate. So when you put it back, remember that order. So let's take out these two screws for the home button. And after those, home button back plate should come out easily. And the actual home button cable is plugged in. So let's unplug that. You can just simply pull it out. And then push your home button from the front of the LCD towards the back. And that should pop out. Just be gentle with the cable because it does have an adhesive. So you might want to use a tweezer or flat tool to get underneath the cable and pry it gently so you don't end up damaging the cable. Now we removed pretty much everything from the back of the LCD. We got earpiece, speaker, front camera, back plate, and the home button assembly. Now we can go ahead, get our new screen, and start installing all these parts back on the other LCD. Okay, this is our new screen, and they're available on Amazon from iScreen Direct, and we are also affiliated with them. They are good quality screens. And let's go ahead and install our parts back on there. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the same order. Here's our home button. You just simply set it on there. There's no wrong way to put it actually. Go ahead, plug the cable. Let's get our back plate. And back plate goes in this order. There's a little bump on the left side, so that will go over the connector. Line it up with the holes. And let's get our two screws. They are same size. You can just put it. And remember, this screw goes on the bottom because the other hole is for the back plate. Now let's get our back plate. This black part is gonna be on top. And it goes over this cable. Just lay it on there. Line up all the holes. The easiest way to do it, put the top one on first. That way everything else will line up just fine. And that is the smallest one. We separate it. Now we can go ahead and put the bottom one. Remember, back plate goes on top of the home button plate. Now we can go ahead and put all the 6 screws for the sides. They are same size. Alright, next step is the front camera assembly. The way you do that, you take this gold piece right here, and there will be a little plastic piece right over on the screen. And this hole will line up with this plastic piece. That's the easiest way to do it. So this is how I place it. Once you get that hole lined up with the plastic piece, everything else will just fall in place. Now that's on there. Fold the cable back. Pull the camera aside. This is the proximity sensor. It just sits right on there. And now grab your earpiece speaker. Remember the little gold springs on the earpiece speaker. There's 4 of them right there. And those are gonna be on top of the LCD. And they will match to these gold pieces. Lay the camera on top of it. And grab your metal plate for the front camera assembly that goes over it. And we can go ahead put our screws back on there. Remember the order. They look about same size, but they are not. Just a tiny bit differences. So make sure you get them right. And just to be safe, flip the LCD around and check to see if your front camera is lined up with the actual lens. And in this case, ours is. So we do have everything back on the LCD. Our front camera, proximity sensor, back plate, home button assembly. Now we are ready to install it back on the frame. To do that, we're going to turn the LCD around. First thing, we're going to have to reconnect LCD digitizer and the camera and also the home button cables connectors back on the logic board. So I'll start with the LCD. Make sure you line up the connectors and just press them down gentle. Okay, here's what I noticed. This cable actually, go ahead, flip it up, and that's supposed to be on top. Just like that. It'll make it a lot easier for you guys to install it. This is the one with a little hole on it. Just flip it around, pull it all the way to the top. It gives you a little bit more room as far as the connectors. It makes it easier to plug them back in. I was kind of struggling there, that I noticed it's not on the right order. So now everything is back on there just fine. Let's grab our plate for the connectors. Goes over top. And there's going to be 4 screws holding this down. Let's line up the holes. Grab our Phillips head screwdriver. Start with the bottom screws. Those are the smaller ones. And then 2 more on top. So that's how it's going to look after the plate is back on there. And the last thing we're going to do, we're going to reconnect our battery cable. Make sure it's snug. Let's get the plate out. Put it on there. And remember, the longer screw will go closer to the battery. And last thing before we close it, Just make sure there's no glass pieces around the edges of the screen or around the edges of the frame. That way you don't end up damaging the screen or the phone while you're closing it. And to do that, just lay the screen down, start from the top. It kind of goes underneath the frame. There's clips, so it should look just like that. And press it down and work your way from top to bottom gentle. If it doesn't want to go down, don't push it and lift it up and check underneath. Make sure everything is snug. All parts of all the corners of the LCD are popped in. In this case they are. And let's go ahead install our 2 pentalobe screws back on the bottom. We're going to grab our pentalobe screwdriver and tighten those up. And let's test our new screen. And we'll go ahead, test everything, see the touch and the LCD has the good spots, if everything is working properly. And if that's the case, we did another successful iPhone 6s repair. Alright. Touch seems to work. LCD, there's no issues with it. Everything seems like working just fine. And thanks for watching. This is Hasan with Media Unlocked Tech. And like I said, we do sell these screens on Amazon with iScreen Direct. We are affiliated with them and they are good quality screens. Check us out and subscribe. Thank you.
Guys, I'm David with Media Unlocked Tech, and as you have seen, we just finished doing an iPhone repair, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit, let you guys know that we have partnered up or an affiliate of iScreen Direct, and so we thought it would be cool to make these videos for you guys, but then have the actual screen that we use, the company's screen that we use. We kind of partnered up with them, and so there's a link, as you guys probably see right now. You can actually click this link right now and you'll be able to go over to Amazon and purchase these screens so that when you're doing your repair, you're actually using the same screen, same brand screen that we use for these repairs. So hopefully that helps you guys out, of course. And as always, if you have any questions or any comments, you can leave them down below or send us a message here on YouTube. We appreciate it, and thanks for stopping in. How'd that sound? Sound good to you?